Hi guys. So one question that I got a lot as a salesman was, oh, what's the fuel economy on this car? And the answer is usually whatever it says on the sticker. So you tell them the highway fuel economy, you know, so for an Outback or whatever, you're going to say 32 miles to the gallon. But what they really mean is like, what are people getting out of this? Because you're supposed to be the expert. You're supposed to know everything about the car. That's what your expectations as a salesperson are. And fuel economy is a little touchy. When people ask you like, "Oh, well, what do your customers get? What have you heard? Like, is it going to be worse? Is it going to be better?" I always tell people, "Well, it really depends on the way that you drive." And so I know that's kind of a cop out answer. So if you don't like cop out answers, this video is probably not going to be for you. I've had some customers that have gotten, 40 miles to the gallon in an Outback. They're like, "Oh, yeah, I just drove it home. It's only got 1,000 miles on it. We drove this long trip and I ended up getting 42 miles to the gallon in a car that's only supposed to be rated for 30 miles to the gallon." And so the experience that people have sometimes are better and sometimes they're worse. And what I always tell people is like, for example, in my WRX, it's rated at 28 miles to the gallon on the highway. Now, on my drive home from work, a lot of times I'll be getting 32. But on my way to work, I'll usually be getting about that 28 that it's rated for. But my average fuel economy for the car, because I drive it around the city a lot, I do other things with my car other than just commute, I end up getting somewhere in the 25, 26 range. And so I tell people it really depends on what you're doing, what you're driving, how you drive. I don't drive that fast to work. Sometimes I speed a little bit, but I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. But basically, it's really going to be dependent. So if you drive a car that's rated at 30 right now and you're thinking about trading that one in for another car and you only get 25 miles to the gallon when it's rated 30, you're probably going to get about the same fuel economy in relation to whatever your new car is. So if you're really looking for something to get over 30 miles to the gallon, you should go with something that's got a high 30 mile to gallon rating, or maybe go with something that gets 40 or 45, like go get a really cheap Civic or something. That's probably the way to go. But there also are the people that end up, hypermiling, like what people do with their Priuses. And you're like, "Oh, I just got 60 miles to the gallon in my Prius and it's only rated 52 or whatever." And if you're really conscious about it, you can get a lot better fuel economy out of the car. It's all dependent on how heavy your foot is, how much braking you do. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, I'll draft or I'll do all this other stuff to try to get better fuel economy." Really, it just comes down to how much you're speeding up and how much you're slowing down. So if you have to slow down all the time, it's just as bad for fuel economy as it is having to speed up, because you're going to have to get back up to speed eventually anyway. So I know this is a lot of cop out answer, but it's something that you get asked a lot as a car salesman, like, "Oh, what's your experience with this? Have you seen people get better fuel economy? Have you seen people get what it's rated at?" See, yeah, I have. I've also seen people get better. I've also seen a lot of people get worse. Actually, I think Ford got in trouble back. I don't remember what year it was. I think it was 2014 or 2015. It was their C-Max. They had a huge lawsuit because they rated that car at the exact same fuel economy as I believe it was their Fusion hybrid was, because it had the same exact drivetrain, it had a similar drag coefficient, similar weight, but it was a little bit bigger car. So it's not really going to get the same exact fuel economy. So they got in trouble because they're advertising that it got better fuel economy than it really did. Now, that makes sense for them to get in trouble for false advertisement, because they should have done a test on that particular car so it's got an actual EPA rating. But people still overreact to that. Like, people will drive home a new Outback and say, "Oh, why am I only getting 22 miles to the gallon?" It's like, well, you're driving in the city. That's what happens. You're gonna get bad fuel economy when you're not driving highway only, and your 32 miles to the gallon on the highway is what that's rated at. So that's just my quick 2 cents about that. It's probably a little boring. It's kind of a cop out answer, but if you do like my videos, please thumbs up. If you don't like them, please thumbs down. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please leave those in the comments below. And if you don't mind subscribing, I really appreciate it. I hope you guys are having a good rest of your day.